Well, salutations, kindred spirits, greetings. Welcome back to the Magic Laboratory and another exclusive tutorial where today we're going to investigate a piece of sub rosa card magic, something I've had buried in print for over 20 years. We'll talk about it in a minute. Let's take a look at the thing for your entertainment pleasure. Here's Dante's sandwich. All right, now this is an original cardboard creation that employs a couple of lovely assistants. We'll use the red queens there, as well as a card magi, most commonly referred to as the mystery card. Lastly, we'll need a selected card from a shuffled deck, and hey, since you're there and I'm here, just going to have you remember this one, and remembering is optional, but without that, there's no plot. You make your choice as I move forward in an expedient fashion. Yeah, this happens pretty fast. In fact, it takes less than a second to find one card in between the two queens, and if the card you saw is the 9 of spades, we're off to a good start. Now, I'm going to put a little initial there, as I think it warrants it for phase 2. That's right, there's more. This card's going to travel long distance and rapidly. That looks something like this as it makes its arrival between the two queens. And as fast as that is, there is a way to make it faster. You just pray that this works, and then we can use the mystery card. That's right, the mystery card. You got it. That's the card we found before you picked the one you chose, and hey, it doesn't get any faster than that. Is there any questions? All right, before we get to the explanation, you know I like to get the credits out of the way. Let's do that first. This routine is in essence a version of Hammond's signed card, or some would consider this a version of Jennings' the mystery card. For me, the inspiration was a routine I saw John Rockerbomber do, his Roadrunner 7s. This is a variant of Eric Eicher's Fast, Faster, Fastest. You can find this routine in John Rockerbomber's Synergistic Sandwiches. And let's also mention Ed Marlowe, because without him, none of this exists. Back in the 60s, Ed introduced the concept of the bluff force and using it in a sandwich routine. This was knowledge I would acquire through Marlowe without tears. And again, we thank John Rockerbomber for being the mentor role that provided me with all this useful information years ago. I put it all together in a new thing, and that thing is what you just saw. And hey, let's take a close-up look, and I'll give you some of the more details now on Dante's sandwich. All right, so let's start this explanation with the bad news. Yeah, the bad news is this. I use a gaff, a trick card. It's a double facer, court card on one side, spot card on the other. This is a standard double facer. You can buy a whole deck of these, consult your favorite magic dealer. And this is what I'm using for this. There's kings that'll work, jacks that'll work, some jokers that'll work, and yeah, I will be losing a card every time I do this through the signature. It's optional. You don't have to have the card initialed or signed, but it does add an extra layer of impossibility. And moving forward, I'll show you how to use this in a fusion effect, and this will become a giveaway for your spectator. We'll talk about that at the end of the explanation. All right, let's start here. We want to remove the spot card. So whatever card matches your spot card side, take that, in this case 9 of spades, get rid of it so it doesn't show up unexpectedly later. And then stack the deck as follows. The standard queen, the one that matches the gaff, goes atop the pack. This will be the mystery card, so you need that in a known location. The other two queens are distributed in the deck, and you can false shuffle the deck at the beginning. Just make sure you know where your mystery card is before you're ready to roll. Begin the demonstration by introducing the two queens. Table the gaff lowermost, so there's our gaff card. The other queen goes atop it, and then we'll table the mystery card. It's on the top of the deck. Here's what I did. I shuffled it to the face of the deck with an overhand shuffle, and then used Daryl's hot shot cut, which is this move, to kind of magically produce the mystery card. You just take it off the top and table it if you want to keep it simple, but that's what I did. And then an interesting feature here, and one I suggest you employ using, is this. You can have the spectator shuffle this deck, and we're going to force the card from a honestly shuffled deck. So have your spectator shuffle the deck, take it back, and then take the two tabled queens, set them atop the pack, and as you do so, establish a little finger break atop them. So just as I put them there, I hold a little flesh finger separation between them and the rest of the deck. This is in preparation for the bluff force. And here it is in a nutshell, the bluff force. You're going to ask your spectator to say stop as you riffle down the deck. Wherever they say stop, you're going to apparently lift up and show them the card at that position. But in fact, we're going to let that break close, and then we're just going to lift the top 2 cards and present that block as the selected card. Now, there's a few bits of finesse that can make this a little more clear. First of all, you want your spectator stopping in the upper portion of the pack. Here's how I navigate this. I riffle quickly as I instruct the process. I say, look, I'm going to riffle through the deck. I'm just going to ask you to say stop. So I give my spectator these instructions, do this rapidly. And then when I say any time will be fine, now I go slowly. And this will encourage the spectator to say stop sooner because I've done it rapidly first. And this will make this deception a little more deceptive as I come in with finesse number 2. The finger, the birdie finger here, goes into this little separation, right? To infer this is where you lift from. And then once you got that cover, now we let that drop. The thumb comes from the back. The left hand drops out of sight as this hand is presented to the spectator. Now, let me point out, this deception is not going to be as strong for the black mirror for the camera lens as it is for the human eye. If I ask you to say stop and remember this card, that card's identity is going to get your full focus, not the thickness of the packet. So just know that moving forward, it will fool you. Fooled me first time I saw it. The last finesse is this. As you bring this packet down to the deck, pick up a small chunk immediately. So show this card, come to the pack, then pick up a small chunk and let the block fall. And this infers that you did in fact drop a small block. And all of that together, the riffling, the finger, the presentation, the small block drop, this adds to the illusion that they've stopped somewhere in the middle. Now we're going to load this card secretly in between the queens. I do this by gesturing. As I do so, I establish a little break below the top card. So I take the 2 queens off. I say they will find your card. You get a little finger break there. Put those 2 cards atop the pack and then just pull the upper queen to the side as you bring the lowermost X card face down with it. So I pick all 3 cards up, hold the top card with my thumb, place the double side jog to the right slightly. This is not rocket science. You just pull it, put this here, maintain this double aligned and then pinch it. So we're in this situation. We pinch it at the inner right end with the right hand, and this is in preparation for the first arrival. And I just spread quickly as I tap my watch, and that's this is pretty much a standard sandwich effect. It should be pretty easy to follow. We show the card there by reverse counting the trio, and this is to aid in the deception for the follow-up move because there's some discrepancies here. So reverse count, and then move the top card to the bottom. This way the spectator sees the Queen of Diamonds, and then do a double turnover here. This Queen of Diamonds is discrepant, but this action allows this to be so. And boom, there's the arrival of the selection. It's at this point that I have the card initial. So it's blank at this point. And then you say, you know what? You should initial this card, or here I'll initial it. Write something on the card at this point. Right? It's at this point the card gets initialed. And here's where we're at. We got the X card below the gaff. And this will allow us to do a double turnover. And I'm using a block push-off, just pushing everything above the lowermost card with my thumb. You could use a pinky pull down for this. You could use a buckle for this. There's a few options for turning this double face down. That's how I do it. And now we're in a clean position to lift up the top half of the pack, deal that X card down, and then we can table the queens to show everything cleanly before the card makes its arrival again. To do this, we'll use the Die Vernon through the fist flourish. So we put the 2 cards together with the gaff card uppermost and the palm up left hand. As the hand turns palm down, the thumb is going to push the upside down pair, supposedly trio now, through your hand. And it's this action followed by this. Place it back in your hand. Pull the top card back so they see the card's arrival. Replace the top card, and now we're going to do Edward Victor's I count, EYE. This is the count that that's not the count that influenced the Elmsley count. This is the count that influenced the Elmsley count. It's a 1-2-1 substitution. So we show that the card is there, replace it, say, and the card has returned again. Now, don't replace the last card. Use it to gesture at this point. So, yeah, and you say, as fast as that was, there's even one way faster. Now you replace this card face up. So this is just a little time delay. You say, as fast as that was, there's even one way faster. So now we have this situation. The gaff card is back to back with the regular queen. And we now execute Alex Elmsley's Prayer Vanish. This is done by placing the aligned duo across your outstretched palm. The other hand goes atop it. And then after you make your prayer, we pray this works. The top hand rotates to the, I'm going counterclockwise until I can take both of the cards into a palm position. So pray counterclockwise, both of the cards get palmed, and then the selection appears to disappear. This is Alex Elmsley's Prayer Vanish. All that's left is to bring the mystery card into view as the selection. To do that, I take the gaffed card, I'm using my right hand here, and as I move towards it, I'm going to scoop up the mystery card with the gaff, and as I turn everything over, the supposed mystery card becomes the gaff. I can table that, can show these, and that brings the Dante's sandwich to its successful conclusion. All right, before we're done with this explanation segment, let me explain the follow-up fusion effect, which allows you to give this out as a gaff. To do this, we want to infer the spectator has a free selection of queens, so it would be at this kind of moment. You say, hey, I have one more to show you. We're going to use one of these. Point to one, and whichever one they point to is irrelevant. You say you point to the queen. Okay, that leaves the queen of hearts. If they point to the queen of hearts, you say, okay, that's the one we'll use. It's a magician's choice that allows you to infer they have a free selection. Now we're going to use the same, what is basically the wild card move, the move we used to introduce the mystery card, to apparently turn this card face down. I do this as I say, okay, you sign the 9, here, I'm going to sign the queen. So that's the action. It apparently turns this card down and brings the queen into view. You sign this card on the border. Let your spectator see this card. And now we use this card to scoop up the gaff card, and we can show both cards briefly at this point. Turn the lower card over, so your spectators will see you turn this queen face down. And then as you apparently square these, what happens is you palm away the honest queen in the opposite hand. So we're in this situation. We've signed the queen. We scoop this up to show these two cards. We turn the queen face down, and as we apparently square everything up to have our spectators put their hand on it, we've palmed away the queen, which can go atop of the pack now. You have your spectator place their hand. It could be in their hands even. Actually, this is a strong effect. And then the denouement becomes both of these cards have fused together. And for a spectator who's never seen one of these in the real world, this is now an extra magical moment. And now you have a course of action to follow through to hand out your gaffed card. You're welcome. All right, and now you know how I handle the sign card sandwich mystery plot, and I guess my real advice to you is this. Figure out how you would handle it. So take some of the ideas I've sprinkled here, read some of those Marlowe resources, add some from your own gray matter, and come up with your own cardboard creation. I'll sit here in hopes that one day I can see you do that, and maybe in the interim I'll leave some videos up here so you can see me do more. I thank you for watching every time. I sincerely appreciate your energy. I'll see you on the next one, and hey, ciao for now.